Good morning everyone and welcome to this morning's assembly, which is going to be on Save the Bees. So the activity today is going to be to create a poster, a Save the Bee poster. You can send it to me, email it to me, or you can take a picture of it and send it to me as well. So it's just a poster today, not a PowerPoint. I just want to see some posters for tomorrow's assembly. I'll show some of them in tomorrow's assembly. So today we're going to talk about the importance of bees. At this point you can stop the video and ask your children what they know about bees already, because there's obviously differences between bees and wasps. Talk about that and just ask them some questions about what they already know. I have done previous assemblies on bees, so they might know some information already. So bees make honey, create honey, they can sting, they are orange, black and yellow. They're just some answers that I got before from children when I've done this assembly previously. And there's a picture of bee and a picture of some honey there, but what do they actually do? They help us to pollinate flowers. Now, there's different ways that flowers are pollinated, different ways that they reproduce. Bees are just one of them, but they're a very, very, very important and essential one at that. So they're really important that bees survive and that we look after our bees. Because of the fact that there are wasps around, and people can get mixed up because honeybees especially look quite like wasps, then we do tend to kill bees sometimes, and we shouldn't do. We should be looking after them, making sure they are safe, looking after their habitats and trying to keep them nice and safe to help to pollinate our flowers. It's really, really important. If you are concerned about the difference between a bee and a wasp, a bee will usually have fur, it'll usually have some fur on it, whereas a wasp, the back of a wasp is quite shiny and usually darker black and really, really shiny. So you can tell the difference by looking at them there. So what bees do is they collect nectar to eat. They do not collect pollen to eat, they collect the nectar from the flower to eat. And that is usually, and I've got some old flowers here that I bought from Mrs. Lonsdale, very, very romantic there. And you can see there, they usually land on this and they collect off here some of they collect from the plants some nectar for them to eat. So their nectar is what they eat, not the pollen. That's a confusion that sometimes happens. Inside the plant, I've taken the flower petals off there, and I've just got the inside, and I will show you this a bit closer to the camera in a minute. The flowers have different parts. They are both male and female. The stamen is the male part of the plant, and it's made up of an anther, a filament, and the pollen itself. So, and the pollen itself, and the pollen sticks to, when the bee comes and lands and tries to get the nectar, the pollen is then stuck to the bee. So the pollen gets stuck to the bee as it flies and lands on the flower. So this is the male part of the plant, and this is how the bee helps to the plants to reproduce. So pollen gets stuck all over the bee's body. It gets stuck on the bee's body like that when it's collecting its nectar. Then the bee passes the pollen to another flower. It cannot pollinate the same flower, it has to move, which is why you'll see bees landing on 1, 2, 3, 4, all the flowers on a tree, not just one and then flying away. So the bee will land on this one, it will get the pollen stuck all over it as it collects its nectar, and then it'll go to the next one and it'll pass some of the pollen from one to the other to create a seed. So what happens next is it passes it on to the female part of the flower. The female part of the flower is this bit here, the long bit that runs down there and creates a seed in the ovary down here. So you've got the stigma, the style, and the ovary running down there. So this is the male part, the stamen, and this is the female part, the carpel there. So then the seed is passed on, and the seed is created in the ovary, and when the flower dies, it then leaves behind a seed that then reproduces the plants. That's how the plants reproduce, using bees to pass the pollen to create the new seed. So a seed is made thanks to the bees, and then a new flower grows. So it's really, really important. These are really good flowers to show because they do show the male and female parts really, really well. So these are quite good to look at and good to show because they do have the stamen, the carpel and all the different parts on there to look at. So that's how a bee helps to create new flowers. Very important to pollinate our plants. So these are, now on the PowerPoint, I have done the PowerPoint, it's not the same as mine here because I've used Active Primary today and not Microsoft PowerPoint, but I have put a PowerPoint up there. If you go into onto the website, go into the parents section, you'll be able to find my PowerPoints there, and there's a little bit of a game here. Always interesting to see which ones of these children do know. Okay, so these are different fruits and vegetables that bees are very important for. So I'm going to leave you to have a go at that. You hopefully can see it there. To have a go at those different ones there. Have a discussion with your children about those different fruits and vegetables. They are on there. We shouldn't squish the bees. Bees do die when they sting. If they do sting you, they will die. The reason bees die is because the effort to they put into stinging you leaves behind obviously something in your arm. It leaves behind something in your arm, and that is actually, when it does it, when it pulls away, it actually pulls out its digestive system in the inside of the bee when it leaves that behind. So it actually, when it stings you, it kills itself by pulling that out. So that's why bees don't want to sting you. They're not interested. Wasps are a bit more likely to, but bees don't want to. They want to pollinate flowers. They're not interested in you in particular. They might land on you by accident, but if it is a bee, you can leave them and they shouldn't sting you. If they do sting you, they will leave behind their venom inside you, and it will pull out their insides as well. So that's what happens when you squish them. I found something out this morning that I didn't know. We were talking about this, Mrs. Lonsdale and myself, and sometimes you might see bees that seem to be dazed and on the floor, and you think they're going to die, so you probably put them out of their misery and stand on them or squash them or do whatever because you think, oh, it's on its way to die. And apparently that's not actually true. Sometimes they get a low on energy if they can't get what they need, and they sort of seem dazed. And it says that if you put a bowl of water with sugar, not honey or anything like that, a bowl of water with sugar, then they will use these things here to come and grab, if it's close enough and they can get to it. If it's on a plate, they'll get to it, get onto it, and they will then get enough sugar to be able to survive and get better. Don't know if it's true or not, so don't quote me on that. It's just something we've read this morning and something you might want to try if you ever see a dazed bee. So let's go back to that now. So there's different types of bee. Here they are. There's bumblebees and honeybees, and like I say, they don't want to sting you at all. The honeybee is closer to the wasp, so you need to be really, really careful we don't accidentally get them mixed up and think the wasps that are attacking us are coming after us. So honeybees there, bumblebees are the bigger and slightly fatter ones, and there's lots of other types of bees as well that I'm sure you can find out about today. So hopefully that assembly was interesting today. Tomorrow we're going to do VE Day assembly. We've not got one on Friday because it is a bank holiday, so we've only got tomorrow's assembly on VE Day. I'm going to show some work as well tomorrow in assembly. Hopefully you've enjoyed the bee assembly today and you will do some work and some research on it. There's lots of videos out there you can watch on bees as well, but it's important that we save and look after our bees. Thanks everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.